I'm going to teach you how mini habits and micro goals can empower you to feed the right wolf inside you, break your bad habits, and create powerful new ones that are going to change your life. You can't replace something with nothing. You just can't do it. You have to replace something with something else. To break a habit, you have to make a habit. That's just not a cute catchphrase. It's a scientific fact, and that is the philosophy we espouse at Feed the Right Wolf. You must feed the right wolf and do something else. You have to stop obsessively focusing on what you want to stop doing and start to focus on what you want to start doing instead. Many of my clients have made this paradigm shift and have radically improved their lives as a result. Having a goal and realizing that your compulsive sexual behavior is obstructing you from accomplishing something else is a radically different perspective from abstinence in a vacuum, where you simply hold on for dear life and want to refrain from suffering the harrowing effects of a relapse. But listen, brothers, to do something else, you have to know how and to be capable of doing that something else. And that's what I want to talk about today. Think about this. Habits carry momentum. Imagine driving your car with the gas and the brake pedals in swap positions, or writing, brushing your teeth, or using a utensil with your non-dominant hand. How long do you think it would take you to adjust to the new regime? Something as basic as holding a pencil or a spoon would suddenly require significant conscious effort. Once legible handwriting would turn into an incomprehensible chicken scratch, and a spoon would fail to travel from the bowl to your mouth without food spilling all over your shirt. See, this, developing new habits, is the true challenge. Not doing something is a smoke and mirrors goal. In fact, and think about this, you know this to be true, this is one of the inherent flaws of the disease-based model when studied. By obsessively focusing on not doing something, you invariably guarantee that you will soon yearn to do that very thing that you're depriving yourself of. Habits are, by their very definition, action-oriented. A habit is an unconscious response to an external stimuli. It's the link that ties your environment to a particular automatic behavior. So to cook a habit, we need two ingredients. We need a fixed mapping between your environment and your behavior, repetition. Repetition is self-explanatory, over and over and over again, making better choices. But what do I mean by fixed mapping? Imagine for a moment the interior of your car, the turn signal lever, the steering wheel, the gas and the brake pedals, your seat buckle, etc. Each time you enter your car, all of these parts are in the same location and operate by the same rules. Pulling a turn signal lever down indicates a left turn. Pushing it up indicates a right turn. If that rule, though, was suddenly reversed, you would need time to readjust. For a while, you would pull when you intended to push, push when you intended to pull. This is why fixed environmental cues are so important, why developing a new habit can initially be challenging, and why deliberately disrupting your environment can be a powerful way to catapult change. Allows you to be more mindful, right? The key is to redirect your habit formation abilities in the direction of healthy living. Break a habit, make a habit. Essentially, we want you to flip your habits on their head and use your already existing cues as a signal to do something productive and in alignment with your goals. That, by the way, requires you know what your goals are. The good news is that most of our daily behaviors involve many intermediate, easily performed steps, so-called mini habits. Very few actions actually require a single grand motion for their completion. So if you imagine a habit as this big contraption with hundreds of gears, each with lots of little mini cogs, Mini habits are analogous to the cogs. Right? Mini habits are analogous in the expression, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. A mini habit is that single step. So by consciously breaking down actions into their immediate, teeny, tiny steps, you make visible the gears and the levers that constitute the bigger habits. Let's take a physical example. Right? A lot of my clients that I work with, not only have they ignored the power of their sexuality, they are overweight. And we have helped hundreds of them cumulatively lose thousands of pounds using this single, ridiculously easy technique. So here's what it is, right? And again, with mini habits and micro goals, you're setting goals that are ridiculously easily attainable. So I've got a heavy client, right? Go run 2 miles. What? I get tired driving 2 miles. What do you mean run 2 miles? So here's what I would tell clients to do. Put on your sneakers, put on your sweatpants, put on your t-shirt, go outside your house and stand there from anywhere between 1 to 5 minutes and repeat. Okay, but guess what happens? My client standing out there for 1 minute, 2 minutes, he starts to stretch. He starts to move his body around. He walks to the end of the driveway. He walks around the block. He walks around 2 blocks, around 3 blocks, around 4 blocks. And a client, and you know who you are, congratulations, just finished a half marathon after losing 100 pounds. Now, if you came to me and I said, hey man, I'm going to help you lose 100 pounds, you think I'm crazy. How did he do that? Wow, that's incredible. But here's what he did. He started by putting on his shoes, putting on his shorts, and standing outside because that mini habit was ridiculously attainable. He could do that. Run a half marathon? No way. The body, mind, spirit shuts down. Can't do it. So by iteratively building on these micro steps, you can systematically build a new healthy habit, a new healthy life. Each of these incremental micro steps is a mini habit, and they're all formed this way. Unfortunately, the conventional strategy people employ is to attempt to willfully perform an entire series of steps in a single attempt. The result, you know it, I know it personally, paralysis. See, if you reflect on your own addictive behaviors, you'll note that you did not go to sleep one day and wake up the next suddenly finding yourself engaging in compulsive sexual behavior. For the overwhelming majority of you, it wasn't a pow! I'm going to do this every day to the exclusion of my family, my career, my health, my hobbies, my relationships, my spirituality. You have literally built your addictive habits incrementally. Think about your patterns, because just about every client that I work with acts out virtually in the same place, at the same time, under the same circumstances, with the same thoughts, perceptions, and emotions every single time. There's clearly some variability, but by studying your addictive patterns, you're going to see the same pattern repeating itself over and over again. And brother, that's an example of your habits working. That's what it's supposed to do. Your habits are functioning like a well-oiled, high-octane, lean and mean machine. Except those habits are taking you to a place of negative. We've got to take them to a place of positive. And by using mini habits, you can systematically hack your habit cycle and effectively redirect these relentless drives towards healthy living. Right? By this process, learning to think less crookedly and function with more emotional stability becomes not unlike learning how to play a musical instrument. Start now. On the one hand, you're going to need to chop and dice your compulsive sexual behavior into the micro steps you take before a full-blown action or relapse, whatever you want to call it. Break it down frame by frame, and you will find the same thing is happening virtually every time. On the other hand, you need to dissect the healthy habits that you want to create into their incremental steps and use those steps as a substitute for your compulsive sexual behaviors. In that spirit, you will embrace the true sense of the word recovery. This means excising old habits and making room for new ones. It means breaking a habit by creating a new one, and it means feeding the right wolf inside you.